Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, in November, consumer prices in Colombo increased 2.1% year-over-year, while decreasing 0.2% month-over-month. December prices are expected to rise due to supply shortages caused by flooding. WindForce PLC announced yesterday that it has signed a standard power purchase agreement with the Ceylon Electricity Board for a 5-megawatt floating solar project. Today's session on Sri Lanka's Colombo Stock Exchange was favourable, with the all-share price index rising 1% to 22,241.57 points. And a rise in Treasury yields and economic data indicating tariffs continued to be a hindrance to the manufacturing sector caused US stocks to close slightly down.
From Studio 24C, here's Anuradi Vikramasinghe.
Good evening and welcome to the Nightly Business Report on Other Than a News channel. Consumer prices in Colombo rose 2.1% year-on-year in November, while falling 0.2% month-on-month, with food-related supply disruptions likely to push December prices higher.
The central bank last week kept the overnight policy rate at 7.75%, citing current rates as suitable to achieve a 5% inflation target by mid-next year. Core prices, which exclude volatile items like food, energy and transport, rose 2.4% in November compared to a year ago, up to 2.2% in October. Food prices increased 3% year-on-year through November, easing 3.5% in October as prices of many items fell. Monthly flood inflation dropped 0.6% in November, with rice, seafish, mango, sugar and chicken recording lower prices. However, the prices of coconuts, vegetables, big onions and dried chilies rose during the same period. Non-food prices rose 1.7% year-on-year through November, up to 1.4% in October. On a monthly basis, overall prices fell 0.1%, largely due to reduction in petrol prices following the fuel price revision.
Cyclone Detwa hit Sri Lanka's economy hard, and Dr. Kenneth De Silva is sharing with us an exclusive insight on the impact and recovery measures with the Nightly Business Report.
I think Sri Lanka has to be cognizant on how to manage this framework, and will definitely have to break away from the IMF austerity package and focus on rebuild and growth back again, which will only help Sri Lanka to get back on its feet. Following the IMF austerity measures won't give us any comfort, and we'll have to rely on multilateral agencies to support the budgetary outlays that come as a result of the increased in imports and also the huge social costs that will come through. Now, the dire side is this: the external account will rise, plus the exchange rate will continue to slip unless the government sees cash flows, substantial cash flows coming in to negate a weaker rupee. The weaker rupee will have a negative impact on the fiscal space, plus on the consumer behavioral pattern. So all in all, significant challenges for Sri Lanka ahead, and it's only hope that the policymakers will come together and drum up a cohesive strategy to get us out of this situation.
WindForce PLC announced yesterday that it has signed a standard power purchase agreement with the Ceylon Electricity Board for a 5-megawatt floating solar project, marking one of Sri Lanka's most ambitious renewable energy initiatives to date.
WindForce PLC, through its subsidiary Derana Private Limited, executed a standard power purchase agreement with the Ceylon Electricity Board. The agreement paves the way for a solar project on Dambuluwe Reservoir. The project is estimated to cost 1.176 billion rupees and will be financed under the 80-20 debt-to-equity structure. This initiative represents a significant expansion of private sector participation in Sri Lanka's floating solar sector. Floating solar technology offers a space-efficient renewable energy solution increasingly adopted worldwide to overcome land constraints. The project aligns with Sri Lanka's push towards sustainable energy and diversification of its power energy mix. WindForce's venture is expected to contribute meaningfully to the country's renewable energy capacity and climate goals.
Let's take a short break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Sri Lanka's Colombo Stock Exchange saw a positive session today with the all-share price index climbing 219.51 points or 1% to 22,241.57. The S&P SL20 also gained 51.92 points or 0.85%, closing at 6,137.79. Market turnover reached 4.01 billion rupees with a total share volume of 100.3 million. For further insights on this, we have Imashi Sella Peruma from First Capital Holdings.
Thank you. The Colombo Stock Exchange opened on a positive note today, rebounding from yesterday's downturn as investors capitalized on emerging bargain hunting opportunities. The ASPI picked up at a strong early momentum and closed the day at 22,242, marking a 220 points improvement over the previous close. Top contribution for the ASPI were Richard Pearis and Company, Selinco Holdings, Sampath Bank, Bukit Dara and National Development Bank. Participation from high net worth investors remained restrained while retail investors seek bargain hunting opportunities. Daily turnover reached approximately 4 billion rupees, which is 1.5% above the monthly average. The construction sector attracted notable investor interest with Access Engineering, Sierra Cables, Tokyo Cement Company and Chevron Lubricants mainly contributing to the day's turnover. The capital goods sector generated 29% of the day's turnover, while banking and material sectors together accounted for 36%.
Sri Lanka's central bank accepted less than the offered amount in its latest auction, with submitted bids coming in higher than expected. The results indicate continued tightness in liquidity and strong demand for government securities. For further insights on this, we have Akna Tennakon from First Capital Holdings.
Thank you. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka conducted its weekly Treasury bill auction today following the chaos that was brought about by the recent floodings in Sri Lanka. The auction raised a total of 15.8 billion rupees below the total offer amount of 48 billion rupees. Total bids received amounted to 86.7 billion rupees, while weighted average yield remained largely steady. For the 3-month Treasury bill, 10 billion rupees were on offer, with bids totaling 11.2 billion rupees. The central bank accepted about 3.9 billion rupees, while the weighted average yield stood at 7.51%. The 6-month maturity once again attracted the highest level of market interest, drawing 57.7 billion rupees in bids against an offer of 23 billion, of which 9.3 billion rupees were accepted. The weighted average yield for the 6-month tenor held steady at 7.91%. In the 12-month segment, 15 billion rupees were offered and bids totaled 17.8 billion rupees. The central bank accepted nearly 2.6 billion rupees, with the weighted average yield steady at 8.03%. Overall, the central bank remained cautious in its acceptance of bids and opted to maintain stable weighted average yields across all tenors, particularly given the uncertainties that have befallen Sri Lanka due to the recent floodings and landslides. Thank you.
Gold prices eased in early trading after touching a 6-week high in the previous session, and spot gold slipped 0.4% to $4,215.48 per ounce, while US gold futures for December fell 0.6% to $4,247.10. Rising US Treasury yields and profit-taking pressured sentiment ahead of key economic data releases. Investors are focusing on the November ADP employment report and the delayed September PCE index for policy clues. Markets currently price in an 88% probability of a Federal Reserve rate cut in December. Meanwhile, White House advisor Kevin Hassett signaled willingness to serve as Fed chair, aligning with President Trump's preference for lower interest rates, which typically support gold. Oil prices held steady as traders assess geopolitical risks and uncertain U.S. fuel inventory expectations. Brent crude edged up 0.1% to $63.24 a barrel, while U.S. WTI rose 0.2% to $59.45. The Caspian Pipeline Consortium resumed shipments from one Black Sea mooring point after a Ukrainian drone attack halted operations. Reports indicated that loading via SPM-1 had restarted, though SPM-2 remained damaged. Analysts said OPEC Plus's continued focus on supply discipline is providing support for prices. Tensions between the United States and Venezuela also added to market caution during the session. Traders remained alert to further disruptions following recent infrastructure attacks. The Sri Lankan rupee slipped slightly against the US dollar today compared to last Friday, and at Commercial Bank, the dollar's buying rate rose from 302 rupees and 75 cents to 303 rupees and 25 cents, while the selling rate increased from 311 rupees and 25 cents to 311 rupees and 75 cents. With that, let's take a closer look at how the Sri Lankan rupee is performing against other major global currencies. A short break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. SLT Mobitel, in partnership with the University of Colombo, has launched a free 24/7 helpline to support communities affected by Cyclone Detwa, offering round-the-clock medical advice from a dedicated team of professionals.
SLT Mobitel has launched a free 24/7 helpline to provide medical advice to those affected by recent floods in Sri Lanka. Anyone experiencing flood-related injuries, fever, waterborne illness or breathing difficulties can dial 247 for timely guidance. The service is available to all mobile users across every network in the country, ensuring wide accessibility. As the national ICT solutions provider, SLT Mobitel is committed to keeping Sri Lanka safe, connected and cared for during crisis. The initiative aims to support the nation's recovery efforts following Cyclone Detwa's devastating impact. SLT Mobitel emphasizes the importance of community solidarity, encouraging citizens to look out for one another. The company stands as a trusted partner, providing essential communication and medical support during this challenging time.
Hemas Holdings PLC has announced its changes to its board of directors effective from 2026 as part of a planned leadership transition. Mr. Hussain Esufali, who has led Hemas for over 4 decades, will retire from the board on the 31st of December 2025. Dr. Anura Ekanayaka, Deputy Chairman, will also retire at the end of this term on the 31st of December 2025, following significant contributions to governance and strategic council. Mr. Ajit Fernando will take over as chairman from the 1st of January 2026, bringing over 30 years of investment banking experience and strategic leadership. Mr. Murtaza Esufali, the current chairman of the healthcare cluster, has been appointed deputy chairman to support continuity and reinforce board oversight. These appointments reflect Hemas Holdings' commitment to balancing leadership continuity with renewal, ensuring sustainable growth and shareholder value. Sampath Bank PLC has partnered with Demo to introduce an exclusive vehicle financing scheme for customers purchasing Mercedes-Benz and Tata vehicles. The scheme offers financial benefits including a 0.5% per annum interest rate reduction, zero interest short-term insurance loans, and credit cards without joining fees. Demo customers will also enjoy product demonstrations, test drives, and complimentary 24/7 island-wide roadside assistance for selected vehicle models. Tata vehicle buyers will receive extended warranties covering fuel vehicles, EV battery packs and motors, along with comprehensive full vehicle coverage. Exclusive discounts are available on selected Tata commercial vehicles, including the Tata Ace HT2, the Xenon Yoda and the Tata bus and truck ranges. Sampath Bank has launched its December seasonal campaign, offering Sampath credit and debit card holders exclusive discounts of up to 60% till December 31st of 2025. The campaign covers a wide range of categories including fashion, dining, travel, lifestyle and electronics through a diverse network of partner merchants. Darshan Pathanayaka, the Assistant General Manager of Sampath Bank, highlighted that the initiative aims to make festive moments memorable while adding value to cardholders' celebrations. Sampath Cards is positioned as a lifestyle-enabling, customer-centric brand, offering rewards and enhancing experiences for its users during the festive season. The campaign reinforces the bank's commitment to rewarding loyalty and supporting customers in creating meaningful memories with family and friends. We're going in for a short commercial break. Global business updates coming on the other side. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Asian stock markets rose cautiously as expectations of a Federal Reserve rate cut next week supported sentiment. Gains were capped, however, after a weak Wall Street close, with US stock futures showing little movement during Asian trading. South Korea's KOSPI outperformed with a 1.5% jump after the US confirmed that general tariff rates on South Korean imports, including autos, would drop to 15%. The tariff reduction boosted optimism for export-driven South Korean companies. Australia's ASX 200 edged up 0.1%, while Singapore's Straits Times Index added 0.2%. In contrast, China's CSI 300 and Shanghai Composite both slipped 0.6%, while Hong Kong's HSI was flat and Japan's Nikkei 225 gained 0.2% after Monday's sharp decline. US stocks closed modestly lower, weighed down by a jump in Treasury yields and economic data that showed tariffs remained a drag on the manufacturing sector.
U.S. stocks closed lower on Monday, with the Dow losing 0.9%, the S&P 500 shedding more than 0.5%, and the Nasdaq dropping over 0.33%. Markets have largely priced in a December rate cut from the Fed. Despite those expectations, U.S. Treasury yields were higher on Monday, pressuring stocks. Bitcoin also stumbled, at one point dropping below $85,000. Shares of Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy and the world's largest holder of Bitcoin, ended more than 3% lower after tumbling as much as 12%. It cut its earnings forecast for 2025, citing a weak run in Bitcoin. Crypto-related stocks Coinbase and Bitfarms also fell. Among other movers, Synopsys shares closed about 5% higher after AI chip leader NVIDIA said it had invested $2 billion in the semiconductor design software provider.
Samsung Electronics has unveiled its first multi-folding smartphone in a bid to strengthen its position in the sector of the phone market, where competition is expected to heat up.
Samsung Electronics on Tuesday unveiled its first multi-folding smartphone to bolster its position in an increasingly competitive segment of the market. The Galaxy Z Trifold unfurls into a 10-inch display using 3 panels, about 25% larger than Samsung's latest Galaxy Z Fold 7. The model could be yours for a whopping $2,440. The Trifold will go on sale in South Korea on December 12 and will be rolled out in China, Singapore, Taiwan, and the United Arab Emirates within this year. The US launch is expected as early as the first quarter of next year. Competition in the foldable smartphone market is set to heat up, with China's Huawei launching the first 3-way folding phone last September. Meanwhile, Apple is expected to release its first foldable next year. However, such handsets remain a niche product for now. Analysts at Counterpoint Research predict they will account for less than 2% of the total smartphone market this year and will remain below 3% by 2027.
Thank you for watching the Nightly Business Report on Other Derana News Channel. We value your opinion as always, so please share your thoughts and feedback with us through email at feedback.adncenglish@derana.lk or via WhatsApp at 076-805-7933. We'll see you again tomorrow with the latest updates in the business globe, and Vinod Varnasurya will be joining you next with Other Derana Sports Central. Until then, I'm Anuradhi Vikramasinghe. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.